Hi, it's Katrina with Katrina and the team at RE/MAX 2000. We are realtors who are making a positive impact in our community. Today we are here with David Brighton from Brighton Home Inspections. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We've been working with you for several years now, and why don't you tell us more about yourself?
Sure, I've been a home inspector for 8 years now. I'm a certified thermalographer. I went to Douglas College and graduated from there. I'm also a master home inspector as a designation with the association that I belong to, and I'm currently in the midst of applying for the adjudicator within the province.
Wow, so what is a master home inspector?
Master home inspectors is a designation given by an organization called International, and you must have over 150 inspections, and I provided that information, and that's how you get your designation.
Like I said, we've been working with you for several years now, and what I find really cool is that you use this gadget. It's the thermal imaging camera. Tell us more about it.
Sure. Thermal imaging is a technology that's available to inspectors, and at the end of the day it identifies or potentially identifies deficiencies that would be naked to the human eye. So for example, if it was a flashing on the exterior wall that had not yet come through to the drywall, the camera would be able to pick it up. So there's a huge gambit or difference between a higher quality thermal imaging camera and a lower quality imaging camera. And I brought two of them as an example today. So this is the one that I use. This is the Fluke T19. And to replace this camera today, it's approximately worth about $5,000. This one, you can buy at Mastercraft, and it's $200. So the issue at hand is that when your clients are asking inspectors over the phone whether they use thermal imaging, there's a huge difference between one and the other. So it's important as a potential client who's interviewing a home inspector to ask the appropriate questions. So one of them would be, do you use thermal imaging and what type of camera do you use? So there's two premier manufacturers of thermal imaging cameras in the world, and primarily it's this one, Fluke, and the other one's called FLIR. So when you're asking the inspector whether they use thermal imaging, also ask what kind of camera they use.
Yeah, that's right. So I can't just go up, Home Depot or something, grab one for myself and just start doing that for all the houses I show?
Well, you can, but you'll see the difference when we show the clip of it later, the significant difference between the two.
Before thermal imaging camera, how was inspection before then? Like, how are you able to figure out moisture or temperature difference?
Well, there wouldn't be, prior to the technology, it would really rely on the independent inspector. So if there was some sort of indication, slight discoloration or staining on the wall, or maybe a physical deficiency that you could see with the human eye, then you would verify that with a moisture meter that is the bread and butter of every home inspector.
I'm glad to see this, right? Like, I'm glad to see this being used for our buyers because it helps them have a better understanding if the problem is huge or is this something that's past. It's also good because sometimes things get painted over and then there's nothing there.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's been several occasions when I've been on site, totally clean to the human eye, and then when you apply the thermal imaging camera to it, you identify water ingress. So it does happen. Unfortunately, some people, less scrupulous people, will paint over a water stain that's currently active, and that you as the potential buyer on site don't see it. And unfortunately, with the technology, we can identify those deficiencies.
And it's huge because it could be a $100 fix or several $1,000 fix.
Correct. Yeah. I did an inspection in Coquitlam about 3 years ago, and the estimated value is between $20,000 and $30,000.
Wow. So it's really important to have an inspector who has the proper gadgets
and is taught in has the proper education as well. It's not just the camera. So you must take the program as well, which allows you to become a thermalographer. You're not just running around with a camera taking a look at pictures without any education behind it.
Okay, so I can't just get my own gadget.
You can.
And run around. I like little gadgets, but I know it's important to have an inspector. It's like, diagnosing yourself. I go to a doctor diagnosing yourself without actually going to a proper diagnosis or x-ray or blood test or whatever. I use medical analogy sometimes, but it's the health of the house. It's really important that when we're buying a property, it's one of the biggest assets we'll ever purchase in our lives. It's several hundreds of thousands of dollars. If not these days, we're talking about $1 million or more. We want to make sure we're working with a reputable inspector, lots of experience, proper gadgets, and someone who really cares and who wants to make sure that you are making an informed decision. Doing an inspection, it's not just finding what's wrong in the property. I find it's actually educating the clients about the property that they are buying. We want to make sure that you know, first of all, yes, of course, what's wrong with the property? Is there anything wrong? Is this a good property? Is it in good shape, or is this a lemon? We want to make sure it's a good property, and we do our best to assist our clients by hiring proper and highly qualified inspectors. The other part of it is that you want to understand, want to have a good understanding of the property you're buying. It's like having a gadget that you don't know how to use it. What's the point of having a good thermal imaging camera if you don't know how to use it? So the same thing for your house. Having an inspector come through that property you're interested in and you're buying is to make sure you know if there's anything wrong with it. Secondly, you know what the property, what the state of the property is, right?
Yeah, so as an inspector, my perspective is that for every deficiency, there should be 4 contributing factors to it: cause, effect, remedy, and cost. So not only do you have an understanding of what is the issue, what's the effect of it, but what can we do to repair it and how much will it be to the client itself. So even in that example, when we're talking about water ingress in a shower, for example, which is a very common deficiency, has a substructure being damaged? If so, how much money will it be to correct that issue? So those are the types of things that I as an inspector always look for, is try to give the client a perspective of cause, effect, remedy, and cost. So at least they know exactly what they're going into moving forward.
Thanks again, David, for taking the time to sit down with me today and explain that very cool gadget, the thermal imaging camera, and also a little bit of insight on doing inspections. And if potential buyers would like more information about you, they can visit your website or Facebook page?
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach me at brightonhi.com, www.brightonhi.com. My phone number is 604-290-5557. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.